7:30 a.m., 183.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. I'm your host, Kelsey Huffine. Co-host Richie Jones sitting to the left of me.
Good morning.
Pops is going to be with us the second hour because I switched up the dates. Got dates wrong for his off days.
You didn't approve his PTO?
I did not. So we had a colliding of too many people on the show here this morning. We're going to be joined by B. Adams on the air from the Mojo Radio Show from our sister station, one of 4.3 ZYP. He's formerly of CBS Sports Radio in Indianapolis. He's going to be joining us in a little bit, not too much longer now. He's running a little late because he's a big person, got big things to do.
Yeah,
on Saturdays.
Better late than never.
It's good. It's good. Yeah. Couldn't make enough time for us, but is what it is. But that doesn't change the fact of everything we have to do today, everything we have to talk about on the show today. Mike Elko, it's okay for it to be hard to get into the playoff. Discussing our reaction to that and how the rest of the country should be reacting, how the rest of the country is reacting. We've also got the little bit of scuffle between Coach Joey McGuire of Texas Tech and, of course, the Longhorns head coach Steve Sarkisian hitting back and forth, saying Tech has a weak schedule from Sarkisian's side, and then McGuire saying you're scared to play in week one, possibly. Probably not.
I mean, it's only like they don't have a big game like 7 days later or anything.
No.
Nothing to worry about there.
It's okay, though. It's okay because it won't happen. But we'll discuss it more later and everything that has to go along with that. And of course, Coach Saban going to Congress, and here's what he said from that. Congress does not need to micromanage college athletics. We'll get more into that, though. It's a lot of interesting
That's a very small part of what Nick Saban said to Congress.
A very small part. And there's a lot of interesting things. Of course, we've been out the last 3 weeks. I was vacation time, Hawaii, had a great time. And then we took a little off day last Saturday. As I know you were down in the beach area as well.
I went down to PCB.
Yeah, fun little weekend there. And we've had a lot of time off, and we've missed a lot of stuff that we're going to be discussing here today because the news just doesn't stop. As much as I wanted to take an off season, the off season is not taking the off season.
Yeah, there is no such thing as an off season. It seems
not anymore. Not the way the news follows college football now. It does not happen like that. So first, let's go with what Saban was talking about at Congress. So a lot of this is deriving from the bill that was introduced to save college athletics. Now, there's good parts of the bill. There's bad parts of the bill. However you want to think about it, a lot of interesting things that went on in this. So Saban wants NIL rules.
Yes.
A lot of people want to paint the picture that Saban is anti-NIL, but that's not the case. It has never been the case. He just wants NIL with structure. What I think a lot of people want that as well. I've been saying for years, when they first implemented NIL, how do you track it? This is essentially going to turn into pay for play, and it has. It's exactly what has happened.
Very quickly did.
It did. So to fix that, Saban is trying to take this mark and be the guy that, handles college football, college athletics. He has been the guy around. He is obviously the greatest coach in college football history, alongside him and Bear Bryant, right? So the interesting part is why was Saban chosen for this? And his record speaks for itself of why he should be the person that saves college athletics. So my wondering is how, firstly, is this bill going to be passed? I say no.
I think it absolutely gets passed.
I don't think there's enough interest to have it passed.
I think now that we have bipartisanship, which is something for those people that are young listening to us right now, that's where both sides of the aisle come together in the middle under an issue,
right? And
they talk it out between the two of them, and then they put the bill forward, and it's not just, oh, this is a Republican bill, this is a Democrat bill. Hey, we work together. This is to help the world of college sports. And it's not just, yes, I know that we as a show, 90% of our talk is about college football.
Right.
And a lot of what we're going to discuss today is about college football. This bill, if it even comes close to getting passed as it currently reads and looks like it's going to, is not all about college football. It is about college athletics in general. Who all can get paid? How do we keep all of those Olympic sports, as they keep calling them, the as Nick called it, the non-revenue sports? As far as sports, I mean, there's only a handful of basketball teams that actually make money. When it comes to football, the vast majority of them make enough money to pay for
all the other sports,
gymnastics,
yes,
golf, fencing
Quidditch.
at UCLA.
I mean, it runs down the line of how much this actually goes through.
So it looks like we are actually headed towards some sort of bill that is going to get passed. Now, how much does it change between there being two people talking about it or four? There's two Republicans, two Democrats are discussing it. And when we get in front of the bigger House and Senate, is somebody from, Texas, or I guess Texas has already been represented. Is somebody from California get in there and go, hey, we want to add, or we want to change this. And for us to get our vote, you're going to have to add this sentence or that sentence, and what changes from there. And that happens with every bill that's ever been, I don't know if you remember the I'm a Bill on Capitol Hill little cartoon.
Yeah.
Like that's how it works. They get up there and everything. But I think ultimately, you said there's some good stuff, there's some bad stuff. I think it depends on if you ask an SEC guy, a Big 10 guy, a Big 12 guy, or ACC guy, because there's some good stuff. As an SEC guy, I see some good stuff and some bad stuff, and I've heard people that are Big 12 or ACC people go, oh, that's the best part of it. This part is bad. And then, back and forth and everything. And I think it's really shown over the last week where ESPN and Fox, this is no longer an SEC versus Big Ten thing. This is the money at Disney, aka ESPN, versus Fox, and the money that they have.
All right, guys. Facebook, hit us up in the comments section. Brooks hitting us up. It's the respect he's earned through his career to where people want to listen to now he's not the Alabama coach. The bill absolutely needs to be passed. Will it? Before the NIL was introduced, there should have been a cap added. I 100% agree if there was a cap added, but you're introducing the legislation and kind of the framework for free agency for a cap situation.
Right.
I don't know if football wants to move in that direction, especially in college, right? There's a cap in the NFL, but going down through the history, I don't think, and maybe it's me not wanting my sport to do that. And it's the same way with baseball, because it looks like they're going to go into a lockout because they're trying to add a cap limit, right? I don't want to see that in college football, because then we're introducing the idea of player associations. You're going through that whole list. Okay, real quickly, guys, we got to get Mr. B. Adams in here. B. Adams on the radio in here real quickly. So we're going to take a quick break real quick first so we can get the camera set up on him and all the stuff like that. First, though, Branded Bills, let me tell you about them. We're affiliate partners with them. The summer is packed with reasons to rep the red, white, and blue. Between the 4th of July, the historic 250th anniversary of the USA, and the World Cup on home soil, patriotic headwear has never had a bigger moment. Branded Bills USA collection is the perfect fit. It's ready to ship designs built for fans, adventurers, and anyone who wants to rep the pride of the U.S. So go check out their summer collection. You can use the link in the description, or go search up Branded Bills / Off the Bench CFB show and go get yourself a hat. I'm a big hat guy, right? Not that I own the hat industry, okay? I'm not big hat, but I am a big hat guy. I wear them all the time, and Branded Bills is definitely the style that Off the Bench chooses. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. If you want to get in here, you can. You can hit us up on Facebook or YouTube. We're going to get you in here live on the show to discuss everything we're going through today, from the transfer portal, legislation for college football, Mike Elko and his thoughts, and, of course, Texas Tech and Texas and what's going on over there. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. We'll be right back. 7:30 a.m., 1039 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. I'm your host, Kelsey Huffine, co-host Richie Jones sitting to my left, and of course, B. Adams on the air over there.
What's up, guys? Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. All right, so we got to know your knowledge about college football. I'm pretty sure you're strong in it.
Yeah. So obviously, I've been a college football fan my whole life, but the last 4 years in Indiana, I ran the radio station that was home of Purdue football and basketball. So worked extensively with them. I'm an SEC guy. All my family's from down here. I've been a Bama fan my whole life, but the last 4 years or so, I was in Big Ten country covering the Big Ten, and made a lot of great relationships, had a great time, did a tailgate show before all the Purdue football games, and had a lot of great guests on. Jermaine Funny Man Johnson from down here in Bama that does How You Watch Bama football games. He was a guest on my show, so I'm excited to join you guys this morning.
Welcome.
Welcome on. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about this morning. Of course, we're discussing a little bit the first segment at Saban going to Congress, talking about college football legislation as they're trying to get something passed with the Protect College Sports Act that's backed by Senator Ted Cruz and Senator Maria Cantwell. But we've also got Mike Elko on college football expansion, okay? He's had his thoughts, and he delivered with what he was saying, probably saying the quiet part out loud of what college football coaches actually want versus what they want for job protection, but what is actually needed in college football. I think Mike Elko kind of hit that on the head with what he was discussing. And of course, Steve Sarkisian and Joey McGuire going back and forth with the middleman, big billionaire Cody Campbell from Texas Tech, trying to set up a week 1 game between Texas and Texas Tech, which is a long-awaited rivalry that a lot of people have wanted to return for a while, but it just hasn't gotten done yet. This seems like the first perfect excuse to go through with it. But we're going to continue on with Saban talking about this Protect College Sports Act. Now, this bill also includes major pieces to one free portal transfer for each player, a 5-year eligibility limit, NIL agent regulation, a language aimed at preventing in-season coaching movement. And this is a noted coaching move for what Lane Kiffin did with the Ole Miss Rebels.
They literally called it the Lane Kiffin rule.
Yeah, literally called the Lane Kiffin
As it should be.
It should be. I mean, it shouldn't happen during the regular season like it did. We also were built with with what Summerall had done as well, with him going from Tulane to Florida, and he was coaching both teams at the same time, flying between both Gainesville and Tulane to set things up for the next season while still coaching in the college football playoff.
I would rather have that than what Kiffin did. I don't know that either one is the correct answer. I would like to hope. Ultimately, the correct answer to all of this, and the one thing that I'm upset is not in this bill, is fixing the calendar.
Oh, yeah. That's the biggest issue to me as well.
Yeah.
The calendar, I mean, you shouldn't have guys even thinking about the portal while the season is still going on, especially teams in the playoff.
Right.
I mean, that should never happen. Because we've heard of opt-outs, before from the bowl games, the meaningless bowl games they call them now.
Right.
But now we're seeing opt-outs of college football playoff games that are actually meaningful. That's what's making the money. Obviously, somehow it's going to get shut down because they don't want star quarterbacks sitting out because they don't like it anymore there. Maybe they're freshman or sophomore, whatever. They can't go pro yet. So they're saying, well, fine, I'm not going to play here next year anyways. I'm going to go ahead and sit out. I've got no more allegiance to this team. I'm ready to move on. I'm already committed to Clemson, right? There's no reason for me to stay here.
Yeah.
It's been an issue for
yes. And so there are a lot of really good things in this bill, in my opinion. The 5 years to play 5 years to play 5 years for 5 seasons, however you want to word it. And then the one transfer portal, unless your coach leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think what is going to be referred to as the Nick Saban rule is if you graduate, you can transfer again, which I think is great. Hey, get your education, finish, get your degree, and then you can transfer one more time.
Well, and that's one thing that this has never been paid attention to. It has now, but originally when this framework was written to the portal and everything like that, they didn't have the best interest for the athletes in mind, because these players that are transferring every year, they're not getting a college education.
It puts the student back into student athletes.
Exactly. We're not playing with student athletes right now. I mean, look what Carson Beck said. When was the last time Carson Beck went to class?
Yeah.
Right.
And then it was for a dance class, wasn't it? Wasn't the last thing he took?
Oh yeah, it was like an elective.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you guys see? I'm sure you did. It was posted yesterday, I believe, but Saban posted, or he was talking. You're talking about the 5th year option or whatever. The difference between a 25-year-old body and a 18, 19-year-old body, and he used Texans from Bama.
Texans from Bama.
The guy,
the wide receiver.
No. The defense. Oh my gosh.
D'Amico Ryans?
No. Not the coach. Defensive player. He was
Will Anderson.
Yes.
Okay.
Golly, I was having a brain fart. Thank you.
You'll fit in fine here then.
He used him as an example, and they literally put a side-by-side picture of Will Anderson at 25 right now compared to what he looked like at 18.
Right.
It's a different man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a completely different man.
Because that's the difference. He was a boy. He's now a man.
Right.
You
cannot put those two guys
kid
up against each other. And for me, like you said, I'm going to echo what you said. You alluded to it. That 5th year to me is one of the biggest things, because it's not fair for a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid to go up against somebody that's 25 years old and looks like Will Anderson.
So at the worst case, you're going to have the 17-year-old Ryan Williams, because we couldn't not say he was 17 every 17 seconds. So you're going to have 17, 18-year-old kids going up against at max 22, 23-year-olds.
Right.
And those are going to be the ones that are, in theory, not quite yet ready for the NFL. So there's a huge difference between the 22, 23-year-old that's still in college versus the 25-year-old who should have been in the NFL 2 seasons prior.
Right.
But on top of that, I think what's great about that is, if I'm the University of Alabama, right, and I'm a recruiter, I'm Nick Saban's little minion who runs around and everything, and Kelsey, you're at Podunk State University, and after your first season, it's like, wow, this kid's a great wide receiver. We could get him in the transfer portal. We've got him locked for the next 3 to 4 years, at least 3. If he graduates, he can leave. But if I'm not going to fire my coach, that's my thought going into the season, right? Cool. Kelsey, come to Alabama. We can sign you to a 3-year NIL deal because you can't transfer again. And so the idea of these transferring every 2 years, or I'm going to join the transfer portal because I'm not happy with how much money I'm getting, sucks to be you. You've already burnt your transfer. You can't even enter the portal.
Well, that's why I've always said there's an easier way to handle the NIL drama of all this. Don't go through the schools. You should never have went through the schools in the first place. Why are we having NIL collectives? Yay, Alabama. I get it. I 100% get why there's a Yay, Alabama, because every team around the country is doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But that's never how it should have been done. It should have went straight from the business to the player. Okay, your local car dealership down in Tuscaloosa. Nick Saban wants to go pay a player. He's Mercedes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, he wants to go pay a player, play for Alabama. There you go. It never should go through a middleman of the college football team. It should never go through the school to pay the player. I've been on that soapbox forever.
And even more than that, let's say you use Ty Simpson as the example.
Right.
Nick Saban wanted to pay Ty Simpson to advertise for Mercedes of Tuscaloosa.
Uh-huh.
Then we should actually be able to pull up on YouTube right now a commercial for Mercedes of Tuscaloosa, and there's Ty Simpson walking around talking about, hey, come down Saturday for our big tent sale.
Yeah. But that solves the issue of a player, wanting to transfer because he's not making enough money. Well, it doesn't matter. You're going to be making the same amount of money from that business no matter what. You can bring on more businesses if you'd like to make even more money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fine. But it solves these issues of just players wanting out because they're not making enough money. It solves the issue of, players just, if they're unhappy in any sort of way, it doesn't affect how, if they go to transfer out, now the schools are not suing the players,
Right.
okay, because there's no NIL collective. There was no deal signed with them. I have never understood why we are going through schools to actually, end up paying the player rather than just cutting the middleman out. Go straight from the local Mercedes dealership in around campus, in that city. That way you just cut out all that drama.
I think your problem there is going to be you're going to have big name people in the sport are going to be like, oh, well, I'm just going to hire. If you're Auburn and you're Yellowwood guy, then Auburn's just going to have a great team because the Yellowwood guy is going to hire 17 guys to be in his commercial. And
there's no difference. I mean, is it Nike down in LSU who has done that collective?
Well, in Oregon for sure.
Oregon for sure. It's Oregon. Oregon, they've
you got Coach Orgeron and Oregon mixed up.
Orgeron and you're right. There's no difference because they're taking on that entire team now has an NIL deal from that business. Okay, you can still do that.
But to go back to the idea of there being a cap, and I know some people are upset that there's going to be a cap. I, as an Alabama fan, am not, because then we go back to a level playing field. Texas Tech can't just show up one year and go, oh, well, here's $50 million, go buy everybody. Everybody's got a $22 million cap. You cannot go above the 22. If you want to pay your quarterback $21 million and the rest of the team $1 million, go for it. There's not going to be anybody to block for the great quarterback, but go for it. But then what it really comes down to is Alabama, LSU, Ole Miss, Ohio State, Purdue are all on the same playing field, except then Alabama can say, look at our graduation record, look at our facilities, look at what we've done, come play at Alabama. Well, I'm only going to make, if the difference between a kid in Alabama or Georgia is, I can get $1 million and go to Alabama, or I can get $1.5 million to go to Purdue, but Alabama's facilities are better. Alabama's history is better. Alabama's chances of winning a national championship are better. That $500,000 doesn't make or break a kid. It's no longer I'm transferring to go from I'm making $200,000 here to I can make $3 million somewhere else.
You got dreamy eyes if you really think that the college football, all this can actually work out. Who's going to enforce a cap? I'm still waiting to hear that, and actually if this is actually going to happen, if you can enforce that. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. We'll be right back. And we've had no sound the whole time for that.
Yeah.
On the radio, on the YouTube side.
Oh, well,
my fault.
They saw us yakking. It's fine.
Shaggy, that was the funniest part of the show, and we messed it up. Okay, continue on, Richie.
Yeah. Anyway, here's my thing. I have gone back and forth. We have argued extensively on how many teams should be in the playoff. I cannot believe that I find myself agreeing with Joel Klatt and wanting the 24 teams. And one of the things that he said that was very blatant is we have diminished the bowl season so much. And he was basically calling out ESPN because all ESPN ran an ad for 2 years was, are you in? Because if you're not in,
you're out.
You're out. And if you're out, well, you just suck.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't even talk about you at all. If you're 13th, scoff. You might as well have been Purdue. Sorry, that was a low blow.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong.
I can't tell where Brandon's allegiances lie because I know he's got roots in Indiana.
Yeah.
Closeted Signetti maybe over there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Purdue. And then, he's wearing the Alabama hat. And he's got roots here, too.
So it's kind of fun to kind of throw the Purdue joke out.
No, listen. I am all Alabama all the time.
Right.
That's my team. Do or die. Win, lose, or tie. Roll Tide till I die. That's my saying.
And then when he goes against Indiana, like last year,
he
probably was a huge Signetti guy.
No. I wanted us to kill Indiana. Fortunately, that did not happen.
Exactly.
I only root for Purdue because I worked for them for 4 years and I built those relationships. When you tend to know people, you tend to root for them.
Right.
Right?
I agree with that. Yeah.
So
100%.
My allegiance is all Alabama all the time. Let's make that clear.
So Joel Klatt discussed that the playoff and specifically ESPN killed the bowls. And I've brought that up, that how pointless a lot of the bowl games are now. Where there used to be, if you were a Purdue and you had a great season and you went 8-4, 9-3, you got rewarded at 8-4 with a trip to Tampa. You got rewarded with a trip to some of these the Cotton Bowl, these somewhat big name bowl games. Well, then we went and made this whole big deal about 12, and if you're either in or you're not. And we had the little clock ticking in the background as Reese is talking about who's in and who's not, because the time's running out to get in. And if you're not in, you're nothing. And so with all that, Joel Klatt brought up the point that expanding to 24, legitimately, when you begin the season every year, there's about 50 to 60 teams that have a chance to make the playoffs. Where in NFL, there's 32 teams who have a chance to make the playoffs week 1. Now, yes, we know the Raiders are probably not making it, depending on who they start at quarterback and everything else they've got. But at the beginning of the season, all 32 NFL teams think they have a chance to make the playoffs. Maybe not the Super Bowl, maybe not win the whole thing, but they have a chance to make the playoffs. In college football right now, there's about 60 teams who think they have a chance, and really only 12, have a chance to make it and win a game, let alone win the actual trophy. So with the expansion to 24, you have already diminished the bowl games.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares about them anymore anyway. Nobody watches the Bahamas Bowl, past the third quarter, or you only watch the fourth quarter because it's a close game and, X has blown up or Instagram has blown up and told you that, hey, you need to turn on to ESPN. This game's really good. There's 600, each team has 600 yards of passing and it's, 70 to 72.
Well, that's exactly what I did during bowl season this last year.
Yeah.
I didn't pay attention, but when social media told me something was going on in the game, I'd flip it on.
So my point being made right here live on air. So I appreciate that. So you expand to the 24. We don't really care about the other bowl games anyway. You're allowing a team that has a good season that would have originally been rewarded with a trip to Tampa or Orlando or even Miami or whatever, are now getting into the playoffs. You're going to have home field advantage. You're going to make it. Plus, it now allows us to play those Alabama versus Ohio State games earlier in the season, because that one loss when we were at 8, that one loss could put you out.
Right.
Because unfortunately, a lot of the voters, which is the biggest problem, look and go, oh, you have 0 losses. you must be better than this team that has one loss. Well, that one loss was by 3 points at Ohio State. I'm still better than the vast majority of teams with no losses in their loss column, aka Texas last season. So you allow yourself more opportunity to have, unfortunately, a bad game or play those big name games, those big name rivalries, which goes back to the earlier segment. The bill has a provision in it that if there's not at least 3 teams in your current conference that are in your top 10 of most played games, you must play one of those other teams. So we're going to get, if the bill passes as it stands, Missouri, Kansas every season. That is going to be a guaranteed every season. Those two are going to have to play each other.
Right.
There's going to be some other rivalries that we're going to get back, Nebraska versus some different teams and everything, because the conference that they're in does not have 3 of their biggest 10 top 10 rivalries. So you're going to have some really cool scheduling things that are going to come from this as well. And so allowing those big games to actually occur, whether it be earlier in the season or whatever, that loss doesn't hurt you. And in fact, it could actually help you, because a 3-point loss at Ohio State should help you versus a 72-point win over Texas State's women's prison.
Right. And I understand what you're getting at. I understand what you're saying. You're going down a different hole too, is trying to fix all of bowl season, trying to get that through. Now, I'm still looking back at the possibility, which, and I didn't see this in the bill, okay, and I may be wrong, but from my point of view, the one thing that wasn't added into the bill, okay, and really the structure and the criteria, you have to leave that. I forget the word for it. It's not incentive. I want to say incentive, but that'd be a bad lack of. There needs to be the whole idea around. I've lost it. Let's go to the bowl season. Okay, bowl season. Okay, you need to treat that completely differently. Okay, we've got to stop losing the interest. Okay, because people in bowl season just a couple of years ago, they loved it because they would sit there, they'd watch all the games. You have continuous football on for I think it's 2 or 3 months. Okay, during that time frame, that's what you have. But the problem is we've lost that incentive for both the team and the teams, because a lot of teams are opting out if they're not in a big bowl game, and for the fans. I don't know how you fix the incentive for the fans. Maybe
they might opt out even if they're in a big bowl game like Notre Dame did last season.
Right. Okay. And I think the incentive to keep programs in that game, you have to have a monetization value for the victor, a large monetization value to fix, maybe problems around the program. Okay. They need to, hire some better secondary staff. They need to build a better weight room, build possibilities to help them in recruiting and for actual, physical fitness, stuff like that upon the football field, to help these programs reach the next step. We got a problem with the MAC right now, where the MAC has kind of decided that they're going to be a developmental kind of first stage conference to bring in these lower tier, or these Division II teams, these FCS teams like Sacramento State. Okay, the MAC was never designed like that. The MAC has tradition. The MAC has been around with that structure of teams that they have right now for years. A lot of these continuous programs that are still there, and now they've decided they're going to add some teams, and they're going to go dip into the FCS. They're going to go dip into the Division II rankings, trying to get all those teams, because it brings them, I guess, more football. It brings them more value in a way to help that conference reach the next step, to where maybe they get a team in the college football playoff.
Well, and ultimately, if you go to 24, you got to get rid of all of the qualifications and the autos and everything. It's the top 24 teams. One is going to play 24 at the house of one. 2 is going to play 23, or excuse me, not even that, because they're going to give you the top 8 are going to get a bye. So 9 is going to host 24. Yes, is that game going to be watchable? Most likely, most of the time, no. I'd guess 7 or 8 out of 10 years, 9 at home is just going to absolutely whoop 24. Let's say your 24th team is UNLV, makes it in at 24, and your 19 this year would have been Alabama. So UNLV would have came from Vegas to Tuscaloosa to play in Bryant-Denny Stadium for that first week playoff. Is that game going to be a good game or watchable? Probably not. Am I willing to accept that being on the TV December, 7th, but I got Alabama, Ohio State, August 31st, September 7th. I'm so much willing to give that up. Plus, yes, that 9-24 game, probably not watchable. Yes, as an Alabama fan, I'm going to watch it. But that, 14 versus 18 game is going to be awesome. That 15 versus 17 is going to be awesome. Got my numbers off a little bit there, but those games are going to be so much better than when we had, Tulsa versus Ole Miss and James Madison versus Oregon.
Yeah.
Like, nobody cared about those two games. Nobody wanted to watch those games. So I'm going to get better football. That's also going to mean the better teams moving forward. The second round, they're also talking about being at home. So now one is going to host the winner of 9 versus 24. So Alabama wins that first game as the 9 seed. They now go to, Ohio State. They go to Indiana. Those games are going to be awesome. They're going to be so much better to watch than what we've had because that second round is teams that actually deserved to move forward in the playoff system. I know that a lot of people are talking about, well, you're dismantling the regular season. You're not. You're actually allowing the regular season to flourish.
7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. We're going to talk more about this on the other side. Real quickly, though, Walker, a note for you. We're going to cut that idea of the video. I'm just going to play that in the break on the YouTube side. We're going to cut that on the radio side. So if you are listening on the radio, you want to go check out what I'm about to tease here, you can do so at Off the Bench CFB Show on YouTube. And thanks to all the people that helped me put apart this video and little something new. If you want more of me, you can do so now during the week, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. All the information in the video there. Big shout out to B. Adams for the voiceover for this, as well as Dylan Isage and Trevion Ware for the images provided for this video. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. We'll be right back. Is ready. The Tide are reloaded. And Tuesday night, Alabama primetime returns. If you want to talk Alabama football, this is the place to be.
From Tuscaloosa to the national spotlight, this is Alabama Primetime, hosted by Kelsey Huffine, Trevion Ware, and Carson Becker on the Alabama Voice of College Football Network.
7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. I'm your host, Kelsey Huffine, co-host Richie. Sitting to the left of me, we're having a little bit of audio issues. Of course, B. Adams on the radio across from us. Been talking a lot this morning. Mike Elko, of course, college football playoff expansion, and then the bill that has been presented with Saban talking about it to Congress. But we've been on this track, and you mentioned Texas just a little bit ago, and you know their route to the college football playoff last year that didn't end up going well. And then the point that I was trying to make before I lost my train of thought was I was going to go back to the deservingness scale.
Okay.
And I think this was, to my point, from what I saw, this was left out of the bill of the structure and how they're going to decide of your deservingness of getting into the playoff. If Vanderbilt, Texas, Notre Dame, these teams lost games that they could have won, that would have built their resume to get into the playoff. I don't believe they should have been in the playoff. There's parts of me that doesn't believe that Alabama deserved to be in the playoff for the games that they had lost. So I just think it's a forgotten factor of getting into the playoff. Well, does this team actually deserve to be in it? Did they win their games they were supposed to win during the regular season? Did they lose any games they weren't supposed to lose during the regular season?
I think you put more emphasis, and I think it's one of the bigger differences between you and I. You put more emphasis on, you said, should have Alabama been there based upon the games they lost? Should Texas have been there based upon the games they lost? Yet you're not paying it when you say it that way,
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like you're not putting any emphasis on the games that they won. Because if it's only 2 losses,
Mm-hmm.
if we go back to last season with Texas, they lost 2 games that they probably shouldn't have lost. If they don't go and play Ohio State the first game of the season and lose by 3 points on the road in the Big House, big noon kickoff, I mean the biggest game in Ohio State in forever, then and they play Texas State Women's Prison, they only have 2 losses they're in.
I think it's a little, you got to look at the weight system of that, of who else is more deserving. Maybe I shouldn't use the word deserving. I should use the phrase more deserving in that context to get to that right. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. YouTube side. If you want to continue on with us, you can join us if you're local here, 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. You can also listen to us on iHeartRadio. We'll be live there as well. Back in a couple minutes here.